TMC 105.1, the Ball Boys on deck. Javith Quinola on Q Sports and Media. By the way, folks, make sure to like, follow. If you're wondering what that logo is by the bottom right hand of your screens, that is going to be our segment sponsor for the day. Raf Chavez on deck as well for the hottest basketball takes in and around the country. Again, Javith Quinola. By the way, 0999-887-6070. Join in on the fun for today, boys and girls. I guarantee you it's going to be a fun show. Raf, tell everybody how we feel today.
Well, I'm feeling fine and dandy because actually we had a very interesting conversation earlier. I know you kind of managed to tune in a bit to the show earlier, but we had a meteorologist on. It was Sir Robert. And, you know, he's American meteorologist, and he's got a huge following here in the Philippines. And wow, I was so surprised to find out that we actually have storm chasers here. In the Philippines. Yeah, we have storm chasers in the Philippines, and they actually work in tandem with Pag-asa.
That's
crazy, right?
Well, it's crazy to me because, okay, so if Pag-asa can't get the news, apparently these storm chasers do. That's just so strange to me.
Oh, it's not about the news, but it's more like they set up equipment ahead of time in locations that they know that the storm is going to make landfall, and then it basically gives Pag-asa additional information, basically.
So Pag-asa can't cover the whole thing. All right, let's go to these storm chasers that are outside getting wet, getting all this information for us. Now, by the way, again, a late start to the day. We had to push back about an hour. I went down this crazy road raft where it was in Budlaan, and it was like a bunch of left and right turns. And the pop-out was Transcendental Highway. For about a good 20 minutes, I was wondering if Google Maps knew where the hell I was going. If you've ever been down there, it's a crazy road. It's so tight, it's compact. And I was like, if a car were to come down my way from the north side, I'm effed, bro. I'm effed. I'm like, this is, there's no way.
I think that's the pathway that one of our hosts here, by Jaya, that he usually takes that route.
Wow, that's a tight road. In Budlaan?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think he usually takes that road because it's kind of convenient for where he goes, I think.
Yeah. No, I got here like super quicker than I thought because if I went through the traffic, the regular Cebu traffic down by the bottom, it would be crazy. And I know Kuya Magic knows what I'm talking about. I think, you remember you talked to me about that road, that diversion road that you can take?
Oh, yeah.
So I took that road earlier. It was crazy. It was super tight. You go through SL Woods and all of that.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought, well, I'm closer to God now. You know what I mean? Like, where I can see the sun.
Yeah, most of the people that recommended me that road, like rode motorcycles. So they're like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, you know, I wouldn't bring my other car down there. But I use it because it comes out right by my house. That's the only reason.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
well, that makes
I would
a lot of
avoid
sense.
taking that road on a Friday night, though.
For sure.
Because everyone's coming down all hoobogged.
No, you don't. You don't. Do not. Super
Makes
tight.
Sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, by the time I got up here, my car's brake pad was smoking a little bit. I'm like, man.
Hey, I got a fully charged car on the way down, though.
Oh, yeah, no, because, with the energy and whatnot.
Braking,
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into it, Raf. Here we go. For everybody, again, the number is 0999-887-6070. Make sure to chime in for your for all your hot basketball takes. We'll be more than happy to have you on air for the Ball Boys. By the way, guys, this show, our segment sponsor later on is Court General. Brought to you by Jax Bautista. Shout out to Jax Bautista for our segment later on. Raf. Victor Wembanyama went on air, or went on loud and said that, and this was similar to Derrick Rose about a couple of years ago in 2011, where he said, why can't I be MVP? And Victor Wembanyama goes on the record to say that, well, I've done a lot already in the NBA. Not really a lot compared to like Luka and Shea, but he is probably the correct definition of somebody who's a perfect two-way player, somebody who has no problems offensively, can score the ball, 3-level scorer, maybe even a 4-level scorer, and is arguably going to be the defensive player of the year this year with how he's put up so well in terms of steals, blocks, across the board, also defensive efficiency, all those little nerd stats that we talked about in the past when it comes to Victor Wembanyama. But the question here, Raf, I want to throw it to you first, right?
Yeah.
How do we really define an MVP? Because there are multiple sides to this that a lot of the voters who decide who the MVP is, folks, they put up on a board. They put up a board and they try to make it statistical, but it's oftentimes not really even statistical. And then they look at other narratives, and we try to quantify this, but there's a big challenge in terms of that because there are stats, there's a story behind the stats, and then there's the supporting there are these supporting things that we try to use and justify for who becomes MVP. what I want to hear also from everybody who will comment is, what is your take on how, wow, I feel like the sun and the Lord just came down on me. Raph, look at that.
Sorry.
I have lighting. Right, so I want Raph to chime in on it first. MVP.
Yeah.
If sa Tagalog, ano ba talaga yung pag-define natin sa kung ano or sino pwede maging MVP?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the MVP discussion, I think there's always been like the classic definition of the MVP, which a lot of people have stuck to for the longest time, which was the best player on the top two, on either the top one or the top two team in the entire NBA. And, best player as in he's the one who's contributing the most in terms of points. Maybe he's the one who's facilitating facilitating for his team the most, like Steve Nash did when he won MVP. And I think that's been like the go-to definition for MVP, what makes somebody an MVP candidate in the past years. But with how the game has changed, and probably this has to do with like the media aspect of the NBA, the idea of the narrative for the MVP became very popular over the past few years. It did, especially in particular with the Russell Westbrook MVP run.
2016.
Yeah, 2016. It was something that everybody was arguing for, even though at the time I think the Thunder finished the 6th seed in the West, in the very highly contested West, and people were still willing to set aside the fact that, it was the 6th seed to give Russell Westbrook the MVP, because not only was he coming off a rather tumultuous breakup with his co-superstar in Kevin Durant, he's now the go-to guy for the OKC. It used to be Durant, and he had to step up, and he did in a very crazy way. He was the first player since Oscar Robertson to average a triple-double, and that's when people started considering the narrative more. And after that, with the Nikola Jokic MVP seasons, his first two in particular, the biggest argument for him was, his stats, his advanced stats. His advanced stats were crazy.
Right.
And now we have these three definitions: the classic, the narrative, and the advanced stats. And really, I guess for me, I definitely lean towards a mixture of the three. I think there's a world that exists where if you can somehow get into each of those categories, I think you are by far the best candidate for MVP.
I've looked, and when you study whoever wins MVP, right? Let me ask the crowd or everybody watching this show right now. When you talk about MVP, I always stick to a barometer that I feel over the years has kind of defined the MVP, Raph. So we have the stats, very basic stuff, really, but it's very all-encompassing in my opinion. Stats, you can't be an MVP if you're ass. If you can't shoot the basketball, for example, you can't be the MVP if you're like 11-10. That's just nonsense, right? That's stupid. So stats are a big factor to the MVP, the numbers. Then you go team record, because you can't be the MVP on the 12-68 Bulls or something, or the 12-68 Hornets, whatever you want to, whatever team you want to use. And then, of course, the narrative. Now, the narrative is probably the only tricky part to that whole description, because the narrative, anyone can construct it in an abstract fashion.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, for example, if we take the top three contending MVP players right now in Luka, Shea, and Victor Wembanyama. That's it right now, because Cade, I think, is out because of the game requirement.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that later regarding, whether or not the NBA should really implement that reversal of the 65-game rule requirement.
Yeah.
So Cade is out. Jaylen Brown is kind of on the back end now because of how Luka's performance as of late, 10-1 in their last 11 games, averaging 39.6 points per game. Insanity from Luka Doncic right now. And Victor Wembanyama, roughly 25-11, and the Spurs are still sitting at, I believe, the 2nd seed, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're still the number 1 seed. And Shea, I believe, if you look at the numbers for him, 31.5, 4.4, 6.6. That's 31.5 points per game. That is 4.4, I believe, rebounds per game, and 6.6 assists per game.
And also 1.4 steals per
1.4 steals. So he's also kind of trying to embody like the two-way kind of definition of a player, right? Now, going back, Luka Doncic has been on arguably one of the greatest offensive tears we've probably ever seen in a while since Kobe Bryant. When Kobe Bryant had like back-to-back 50-point games.
Yeah.
Luka right now is on like a 39.6 points per game tear, leading the NBA in scoring 33.6, 7.8 rebounds, 8.3 assists per game. LeBron James MVP-like numbers. The reason why, and for everybody watching and everybody who will be watching, the reason why Luka Doncic right now is such a strong name in the MVP contention, Raf, has everything to do with the fact that over the past couple of years, he's technically been robbed of the MVP a couple of times. I get it. Nikola Jokic has been terrific.
Yeah.
Triple-double machine, and the Denver Nuggets have been on top.
Yeah.
But I think there were like a couple of years, especially that year when they went to the finals, where Luka Doncic actually should have been MVP. Because of the conversation, and this is where, again, it's so abstract and so difficult to explain sometimes when you talk about narrative. Luka Doncic, if we're talking about the most versatile, best bucket getter, period, in the NBA, I don't think there's any guy out there who's better than Luka. People keep arguing for Shea, and I feel like the only reason why people argue for Shea is because they want to keep it in that North American space. I really feel like it's racial at some point.
Yeah.
Because you can't sit there and tell me where you complain so much about Shea's foul baiting game, unethical nonsense narrative, and here comes Luka Doncic, who puts up 60 points the other week on 18 of 30 field goals and 10 free throws. How do we do, where does Shea overtake Luka in that argument now?
Yeah.
Just his defensive ability, where we can understand Shea also cherry picks on defense, guys. He's not some magical. Michael Jordan did it. LeBron did it. You know, a lot of those guys did it, right? So I can't really definitively say that Shea's a two-way player, and that's where his value is over Luka. And that's what's gonna make him MVP when Victor Wembanyama, stocks-wise and actually defensively overall, he's better there.
Yeah.
Now, that's Luka. I think he should have won MVP a couple of years back, and that's why the narrative now, especially with the way the Lakers are trending, they're trending in such an upward direction and in such a tidal wave type of flow.
Yeah.
Where now the league's sort of like, oh wow, they really are contenders, because this has 2024 vibes again.
Yeah.
When Luka led Dallas to the finals,
Yeah.
peaked at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Lineup started being complete. The guys are already there. It's again 10 of the last 11. Now for Shea, it's just consistency. All right. Again, 31.5, arguably one of the best scorers in the NBA, just behind Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
The problem with Shea for me, narrative-wise, is that you're kind of, again, the consistency is kind of hurting you a little bit. And here's why: the consistency is hurting you because you're not doing anything special compared to what you did last year. And these two guys in the argument right now, it's super special. Now that's just Shea. That's it.
Yeah.
But Victor Wembanyama, I remember I was talking to a colleague about this the other day, where is Victor Wembanyama going to be a top 5 player in the league? He said yes, and I said no. But I kind of had that whole thing thrown back in my face now, because arguably Victor Wembanyama is not just top 5.
He might be top
1. Sorry. Whoa, that came out of nowhere, too. Now, hear me out on this, folks. Victor Wembanyama, you have to understand something. This is his 3rd year.
Yeah.
This is something that exists with the MVP argument so much, and this argument existed for LeBron James when he started winning a lot of MVPs, Raf. The San Antonio Spurs were horrible before Victor Wembanyama. They were dog shit, basically. You know how when a dog takes a shit, and that shit is on the ground for, let's say, a good 5 to 10 minutes, and then a day comes, day 2 comes, day 3 comes, that shit goes hard. Whatever crumbs come out of that, that's what the San Antonio Spurs were. They were horrible, right? In short, you got my point now, metaphorically. Before Wembanyama was, again, you saw the progress. The Spurs understood. This is one of the best organizations in the NBA, by the way. The Spurs understood that, all right, we have somebody. We have a Tim Duncan, David Robinson type guy now. Somebody that we can build our franchise around again. We had Kawhi Leonard. That was an issue. We let it go. But yeah. I digress. Year 2 comes, nobody really had any expectations. Year 3 comes, and now they are the second best, or arguably the second seed in the West, arguably the 3rd best team right now in the NBA. You take what they were 2 years ago, Raf.
Yeah.
And if you tell me that this alien-looking creature would come from France and flip this entire franchise around in 2 years, I think you're crazy. And I think but if you told me that, this could definitely got to be MVP.
Yeah.
And that's a narrative that's written almost every MVP candidate for past years.
Yeah.
LeBron when he won MVP, Hakeem when he won MVP. Although I'll bet it took Hakeem a couple of years for the Rockets to really take a team when Ralph Sampson left and when he was now the guy. It follows these MVPs where can you transform your team into an actual contender?
Yeah.
And people are arguing, oh, the Spurs aren't a contender. But I can guarantee you when the playoffs hit, because this was the same narrative they had for OKC last year and 2 years back, the Spurs, when they hit the playoffs, they are going to be scary. You can expect them to make quite a deep playoff run. And Victor Wembanyama is not the type of player that's going to take any of these games off. He's going to go 100%.
Yeah.
This is why Wemby all of a sudden has thrust his name into the MVP conversation and why he's top 3, arguably top 1. His stats are there. No need to argue. 24-11, and I think 3 blocks a game, about a steal and a half a game, right?
Yeah.
Now, the San Antonio Spurs, second best record in a very, very tight and competitive Western Conference. And finally, the narrative is on his side, Raph.
Yeah.
Taking the dog shit that was San Antonio from 2 years ago, making them the second best team, or yes, arguably the second best team in the NBA. They didn't go through a rough patch like the Pistons. The Pistons went through a patch where they lost a couple of games, Raph, and now Victor Wembanyama, the San Antonio Spurs, extremely consistent. De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, all those guys, Stephon Castle, great consistency, and you got to give a lot of that credit to Victor Wembanyama.
Definitely. I think he most definitely really sets a tone. I mean, you could see that very clearly with the NBA All-Star game, but I think that was just like a reflection of how he is when it comes to every single game that they play. And I think this is something that kind of some people kind of memed about it, but like I thought it just goes to show how seriously he takes each game, right? That game where they had to make a massive comeback. I forgot who it was against, and then Victor ended up.
Oh, the Clippers.
Oh yeah, it was the Clippers, and then Victor ended up crying after that one. I think some people were like, oh yeah, it just goes to show how passionate he is about the game, and some people were like memeing on him about it, like bro's acting like he won the NBA Finals or something. Yeah. But no, it's really just about a reflection of his character.
Correct.
Like he takes how seriously he takes each and every single game. And I'm kind of curious because you did mention that, Victor's trying to make his case about why he should be MVP. Did you hear his 3 reasons as to why he
Drop
should
him
be?
for me. I'm trying to remember.
Okay, his 3 reasons were defense is 50% of the game and it gets undervalued a lot. And then when it comes to, he's the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. And then his second reason is they almost swept OKC in the regular season. So that's his second reason for why he should be MVP. And then his third reason, which I think was probably one of his weaker points, is that offensive impact isn't just about points. I think that actually hurts him.
It does a little bit. I'll say this, though, to his argument, the Victor Wembanyama, offensive impact. I think that because I would say his defensive impact is a lot more significant than his offensive impact because the fact that he's even there already has people in anxiety thinking of how to attack the rim.
Yeah.
What do I do if I get him on a switch? Do I really, if I'm a big, for example, if I'm matched up against Wemby, do I take him on the block?
Yeah.
Does that even make sense? When I look up, it's like trees. I can't see anything. I can't see the rim, right? So I think his defensive influence is a little bit more impactful than his offensive influence because I think people, they look at the offensive side so much because at the end of the day, it's true, basketball is all about getting buckets, and guys like Luka and Shea, I believe they're a lot better than Victor Wembanyama when it comes to that. However, on the flip side, if you're talking about basketball holistically, Victor Wembanyama between Luka and Shea is just the more complete player. Now, the final piece to this whole conundrum is Luka Doncic to me is arguably right now deserving of the MVP because not because it's his time and we're kind of disqualifying Victor because of you'll have your time, which I think is a little bit unfair.
Yeah.
But because Luka Doncic, in my opinion, he has become this invaluable member of the Los Angeles Lakers where his production, without it, the Lakers would utterly fail.
Yeah.
Now, with Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, where because of how good a team they've become, it kind of hurts Wemby's case just with the MVP discussion, right? It kind of hurts his case a little bit because you have Stephon Castle, you have De'Aaron Fox, and they became who they became. No discredit to you and the San Antonio Spurs. But because the Lakers, they rely if you're talking about percentages with Luka Doncic having the ball and what he does with it, the Lakers rely too heavily on that compared to how the Spurs rely on Wemby to create points.
True.
To do XYZ in the half court for them offensively. And even, again, his biggest impact is defensively. And they get out, they run, they get out on the break with De'Aaron Fox, the speedster that he is, Stephon Castle, all these young guys. They've been able to get a lot in transition because of Victor Wembanyama. That's where this whole conundrum is now. How do you, and let me throw this question to you, Raph, how do you, as a viewer, even come to the conclusion that, all right, I got Luka Doncic who deserves it, but I got Victor Wembanyama who doesn't deserve to be disqualified because of the time argument. And then I have Shai Gilgeous, who's the number one, or who's on the number one team right now, and is arguably the best scorer also in the NBA.
So, like, how do you choose between?
How do you choose between these three?
It's something, and I think the voters they have their work cut out for them.
Oh yeah.
It's quite a tight race. This is probably one of the tightest MVP races in a recent memory. When was the last time the MVP race was this tight? Between three players.
I don't know. I think one of the tightest MVP races I've ever personally seen. It might have been with it was probably that Steve Nash and Kobe bit, because. And I'll always tell, and this is something we can clip later. I'm telling y'all now, you're all going to want to hear this take, right? So many people argue that Kobe Bryant was robbed of the MVP. I'll tell you personally that Kobe Bryant was not robbed of the MVP. You Kobe stans will make any damn case to put your guy on that pedestal because he keeps getting disqualified because he only has one MVP, he has 5 chips, he's just one of the best scorers the NBA has ever seen. I'm never going to argue that. But if you're going to put him up there in that 2006 argument and say he should have won that MVP, he did not. You know why? Because Steve Nash was the best player in the NBA in that time. It doesn't matter if we're arguing 2007, 8, 9, the rest of his career. In 2006, Steve Nash was the best player in the NBA. That was an absolute dog show shit of his Phoenix Suns lineup. Boris Diaw was not Boris Diaw yet. Sean Marion, okay, maybe you can make the argument for the Matrix, right? Eddie House, Raja Bell, Pat Burke. Do you even know who these guys are?
Some of them, no.
Some of them, no. Exactly my point. And the Lakers, to argue for them as well, they also had a bunch of bad players. But, ganito kasi, Raf, a lot of times when we have these one-on-one MVP discussions, we never really see them go head-to-head. Sa lahat ng mga Kobe stans dyan na magsasabi na they went head-to-head in the playoffs. The Lakers were up 3-1, and the Suns came back and won the whole damn thing. So if we ever had a forum to decide, if we cannot decide, and we had to put the both guys in a forum and say, all right, duke it out, whoever wins MVP. Yun na! Ano ba? What more do you want? Like, I don't understand these Kobe fans who die on a hill and say, Kobe was robbed. No, he wasn't robbed. He had a chance to prove that he was the best player in the league, Raph, and he lost. Simple, plain, he lost. And again, because they awarded the MVP after that series when the Suns went up against the Clippers. Elton Brand, Sam Cassell, Chris Kaman, that lineup, a really good lineup with the Clippers. And they awarded Steve Nash the award because, again, if you're a voter, all right, let's let this series decide who wins MVP. And Kobe lost. What are we even arguing about? Why do we continue to because his stats are better? Well, they lost. Like, what are we? It's stupid. Like, get over it.
Yeah, well, to that point, like, do you think this is what it's going to take for us to decide who MVP is? Because it was kind of like the case like last time, last time around between the MVP race between Shai and Jokic, where people were just like, just let them meet in the playoffs, and whoever wins, that's the MVP.
Yeah,
no, it's gonna fall to that, no?
Yeah, I feel like it does, because you gotta keep in mind, all 3 of them are in the same conference.
Yeah.
But the problem we have there is they're 1, 2, and 3. They're not gonna meet until like the second round.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So can we wait till the second round? But we have to wait till the end of the second round because somebody's had to kill somebody. I think. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Look, again, I go back to 2006 because so many people were beefing over that MVP award. I'm like, Steve Nash was the best player in the NBA at that time. Was he a good defensive player? No. I'm a big Steve Nash fan, and I will always say that he was not a good defensive player. But he was like an advanced Trae Young, if anything. A great version of, if Trae Young would ever become the player that he could be, it's Steve Nash. And that's peak. Now, my argument would always be like, all right, he put up the stats, he put up the numbers. They were the second best team in the entire Western Conference that year, the Phoenix Suns were. And that was already a big plus for Steve Nash. Kobe and the Lakers were number 7. Now, again, going back to my point, Kobe Bryant lost. So if we're having this argument with the current set of MVP candidates and somebody loses, can we definitively say that that person did not deserve MVP? Now, the flip side of that, Raph, is the year that Dirk Nowitzki won his only MVP was the year the Dallas Mavericks lost in the first round of the 8-seeded Golden State Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not as black and white.
Definitely.
But I believe that's like that anomaly and that blip in time where Dirk won it because the Mavs were like 68 and 14 or something like that. They had a great regular season, but they lost, I think, 2 or 3 times to one team. That was the Golden State Warriors. And people are already humming and saying that if these two meet in the playoffs by some stroke of God, that the Dallas Mavericks would have the worst possible time. And they were right, Raph. When they met them in the playoffs, they lost.
They got slapped.
They got slapped. They got B-slapped, bro. They got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah. And I think there was also like a concern for like it was the Bulls with Jordan, and then I forgot which season it was, but they got swept by Cleveland in the regular season, and people were like saying that once they get to the playoffs,
it'll change.
No, once they get to the playoffs, the Cleveland Cavaliers were gonna knock down the Bulls.
Right.
And Jordan did not like that kind of talk, so he went out and he killed it, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is something that this is something that people use to prop up Kobe as well.
Yeah.
The mentality of the player.
Yeah.
That's something that people always bring into question. Like, is this somebody who's actually like trying to win the game or trying to, look good with their stats and stuff like that? And, I think that really adds as well to the case for Victor, right?
Victor.
His mentality when it comes to the game, you can really feel it. He's trying to win. See it. You can see it. He's trying to win and all that.
The visual is there.
It's definitely something. And I think do you think that his anomalous impact on defense is enough to sway voters in his direction?
I think so. I think he's already a lock for Defensive Player of the Year. I don't see anybody, unless it's Rudy Gobert again. God willing, please no again. But I get it. I get why it's Rudy. I genuinely do. If you watch the Wolves play, you get it.
Yeah, he's a good defensive player, and he did lock down KD that
one possession against the Rockets. Yeah. I genuinely get why Rudy wins it. I really do. But then it gets so painful. If I, for example, the NBA were to tell me, hey, TMC, you guys get one vote for. Or you guys you get a media vote for all these awards, and then I vote I vote Rudy Gobert, and then I see this dude getting killed by the most random player in the playoffs. It's so painful. I get so annoyed, Raph. I remember when 2024 Luka Doncic literally asked for that switch on Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Game 1, he was like, now I got him. Boom, boom, tween, sidestep, step back, J, bang, knocked it down. I'm like. See, if you're a voter for Rudy Gobert, I get it. It's so painful now to vote for Rudy Gobert. But I also get it because he's so good in the regular season being a shot-blocking presence for the Wolves.
Yeah, the thing is that when it gets to the playoffs, everybody knows that his weakness is on the perimeter. So they intentionally try to drag him out to the perimeter where he's at his weakest.
Correct.
It's really at the rim where where he's at his best.
Correct.
But the thing about Victor Wembanyama is that he's good everywhere.
Exactly.
He's a good perimeter defender, and the way he moves is just it's so much like a guard, and there's not
long guard.
There's really not a lot of big men who can keep up with him.
I agree.
Like I saw him doing that. I think who was it up against? I forgot which team it was up against, but he was like doing a pump fake, and then he pulled it back, tween, cross, and then got into the lane. It's like the opposing big man couldn't keep up with the speed. I was like,
that's ridiculous, man.
He's 7'4". What's going on?
And to your question, Raph, defensively, again, he's a lock to win Defensive Player of the Year in my opinion, and I don't think there's really anybody else who can contend.
Yeah. Is it enough to bring him the MVP?
Yes, I'll say yes. I'll say yes. I think Victor Wembanyama should win MVP. And let's say, barring sentimentality, and again, for Luka, I would love for Luka to win it. But the only reason why Luka should win it is because he deserves to win it after all the times he's been robbed of MVP. Because if Victor starts winning MVP, nobody else is winning MVP anymore, in my opinion. Yeah. Like we're gonna need another alien to come in and win MVP. But objectively, Raph, should Victor Wembanyama win MVP? I say yes. On the narrative, on the back of where the Spurs are, his statistical impact on both ends of the floor, and the fact that if we're talking about anybody who's even a complete player, it is Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Shea hasn't done anything special this year. The Thunder are again a number 1 seed because they're the best defensive team, in my opinion, in the NBA. They got guys like Chet, Jason Wallace. They built a great team around him.
Yeah.
And the one area where it's Luka Doncic makes it close is because the Lakers are ass without him. That's a team that has LeBron James. I'll bet, again, I'm a big LeBron James guy, but he's no longer the LeBron James of old. We can agree on that.
Yeah.
And Austin Reeves, who, I mean, he has been terrific. He has looked like the Michael Jordan of Dairy Birds, if you know what I mean. Like, this guy can score the ball.
Yeah.
Now, and they've found a rhythm with DeAndre Ayton, Jackson Hayes, and Marcus Smart, which I really like, and their biggest X factor, Luke Kennard. But that team, again, is so reliant on Luka Doncic that's the only case for Luka Doncic. But if I'm arguing again, objectively, you draft who the best player is right now in the NBA on both ends of the floor, and because so many people want to argue the two-way ability of a player, for me, it's arguably Victor Wembanyama. But I want to get your final take on that. How do we separate these three? How do we create the distance between these three to come to a conclusion that, well, that's my take on it. Like, that's how we create the distance. But I want to know from you, how do we create the distance between these three to determine a non-controversial MVP?
No, I don't think there's going to be such a thing as a non-controversial.
No, for real, there won't be. I get that feeling. Yeah.
It's not going to happen, especially with how close this race is.
Yeah.
And I still see people who are arguing for a case for Nikola Jokic, in fact, for MVP, just because he's still averaging a triple-double, and the Nuggets, although they've been slipping in a lot of their games recently, I think it's primarily been due to injuries. They've been dealing with injuries throughout the entire season, and really, how do we create the distance between the top 3 MVP candidates right now? Yeah.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult because if you
take note, you get 1 vote.
Yeah, you get 1 vote. And that's it. And what are you gonna do about that?
Correct.
Oh wait, if I remember correctly, you get 1. Don't you get the vote for like 1, 2, 3, something like that? Like
you got like points votes.
Yeah, points votes. Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Okay. Who would you award that 1, 2, 3? All right, 3 being the biggest, 2 and then 1. All right, 3 would go to.
Okay, 3 would go to Shea.
Wow! After all I said, come on, Ralph. You're giving Shea 3? No, I'm saying 3 is the most you can give, huh?
Most.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Okay, go.
Okay, my bad. I missed that. I missed the part. Okay, 3 would be Luka for me.
Wow. Okay, you're.
Yeah, sorry.
What's going on today? Okay, so you went. Okay, so Luka's dead last. Luka's your number 1 guy.
Yeah,
okay. That to me was a curveball. Go ahead, keep going.
Luka is my number 1 guy for MVP. I do like how things are going for him right now, and it's just it gives me flashbacks of MVP Harden. Just his usage rate and the amount of things he does. And this is like when I was going through Victor's takes earlier. This is why I said that his third point really hurts him more than it helps him, because Luka does way more on the offensive end.
He does
than Wemby does. Although on defense he's average. He's just average.
Yeah.
But I think that for the vast majority of people, they are going to choose the better offensive player over the better defensive player.
True.
I'm sorry, but Victor, you were right. Most people don't value defense that much.
But you know what, Victor? I value defense so much. I'm giving you the 3 points that Raph unjustifiably gave to Luka and Shea earlier. But no, Give me Victor at the 3, and now I want to know who's your 2 and 1.
Okay, my 2 is definitely Victor, and then my 1 is going to be Shea.
We have. I'll have it in that reversal order where I have Luka at number 2 because he's been the best statistical player in my opinion. 33, 8 and 7 or 33, 7 and 8 is not easy to get. All right, that's like LeBron James MVP 2013 Miami Heat level numbers. That's insane. And then Shea, again, credits to Shea, but I don't think, again, you've done anything special this year to separate yourself narrative-wise from these two.
That's true.
All right, so Luka for me is ahead now. Wemby is number 1, and I think as this season goes along, we'll probably see Wemby. I really think he should win. Objectively, if we're being objective. Kasi yung nakakatawa sa mga tao, and I'll say this in Tagalog, I don't know how many languages I can translate this to, but I'll try Tagalog, right? Nakakatawa kasi yung mga tao, ayaw na, yung nga, inaaway na si Luka Doncic kasi ayaw niya magdepensa. Hindi na niya kaya dumepensa, ganun. Pero I give you Victor Wembanyama, and you're like, what? No, he's not the Lucas, what? Like, decide, bro. Pick a side, flip a coin or something.
Be consistent.
Correct. At the very least, stand on some kind of ground where if I see you on that ground, I know what business you're about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You see me on this show, you know what I'm about. You know what I stand on. You know what the hill Raph and I are on. It's called Tops. Right? But
yun
lang. I'll wrap up with this because ironically the next thing we gotta talk about is these nerds that keep getting into the way of things. But all right, so final thoughts are that I got Wemby winning MVP this year. You got Luka. I say that's fair. I'm not mad at that at all. I think it's fair to say. I got Luka coming in second. You have
I have
Wemby coming in second, and then we both have Shea dead last. Now, interestingly enough, I feel like when we're talking about being objective, there are so many people out there who try to over quantify players and their abilities and all of that stuff. And I think I put this on my page the other day, and I was trying to make an argument about it where aren't these nerds, these guys who hide in deep basements somewhere in their moms in front of a computer? And I get it. I really do when you're trying to quantify and evaluate efficiency. But I can almost guarantee and tell you that the Oklahoma City Thunder last year did not win the NBA championship because some guy in the background is telling them, hey, you got this guy's like 2.5 in this area. You got to no. They just played basketball, man. Based on their abilities. So quick, let's go into this, Raph. Because earlier in the week, Mac McClung, I think, hung 53 and 58 points. I think that's crazy to think about.
Was it a 59?
Yeah, it was actually, sorry, it was like 59 points. And he is now the G League's all-time leading scorer. Yeah. But that's the problem. He's still in the G League.
Yeah.
No team, I think a couple of teams have tried picking him up, and every time I bring up this topic, they're like, it's a system issue. Every person who also tells me it's a system issue, Raph, have no goddamn clue what a system even is. Like, it's also hard for players to explain, but a guy who can articulate it, I can tell you. If a guy was in front of me right now, and he's a basketball player, it's a pro basketball player, there are only very few guys who can explain what an actual system is. I'll tell you in brief what that looks like. The Spurs have a great offensive system. JJ Redick has a great offensive system. Tim Cone on Barangay Ginebra has an offensive system. What that is, for everybody watching, it has little to do with the offensive plays, but everything to do with the systematic default concepts that those coaches use. The Spurs always love to put a guy in the corner, and all of their action happens from that concept. Guy in the corner, spacing out, and every one of the offensive set actions happen from there. JJ Redick is more in the middle of the floor. So he likes to use LeBron a lot, or he likes to use a 4 and a 5 consistently in patterns or in ways where they come from the middle, they operate from the middle, they go from left to right. Because there's a lot more space when you operate from the middle and go left to right.
Yeah.
That's simple enough. Tim Cone, for example, triangle. It's triangle all day. It's the 90s when it comes to Tim Cone. So that's what a system is. Now, the problem is, when you're trying to fit these guys like Mac McClung, and people tell me it's a system problem, I'm here to tell you, like Cam Thomas also, who got waived by the Bucks. I thought it was crazy because the Bucks don't have a system. That team is trash. Like, what?
Yeah.
Go.
I don't understand what happened with that as well. I thought Cam was like kind of killing it.
He was.
And then they suddenly waived him. It's like, what happened?
How on God's green earth is Cam Thomas not in the NBA? A bucket who can get you 20, 5 and 5. when he wakes up and rolls out of bed. But Brandon Pajemski can't figure out what to do. When you're down 3, he'll take a 2. When you're down 2, he'll take a 3. What is going on? Why is the world like this, Raf? It doesn't make any sense.
There is no justice.
Right? Because, Raf, where is the justice, Raf? If, for example, I'm an aspiring ball player in the G League, I just dropped 60 in 3 straight games, but an NBA GM would rather prefer Manute Walakali from wherever on my roster who averages 1 and 2. That's minutes and points. Where I'm averaging 60 points, Kuya Magic, in the G League, but I can't get shine in the NBA over Manute Walakali.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. I think I remember when Isaiah Thomas dropped like 80 in the G League, something like that.
No, it was Rucker Park Title League. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. And huh?
My goal is Michael.
Don't start. Don't. We're not gonna. This is. You're not. That's not gonna end well for you.
Oh no.
They put me up to it.
Oh no. My wife knows exactly all these little things that put me on deck, bro. She like all my content. She's like, why do you yell at this? And then she's like, she brings it up in the car and like, are you just here to make me mad today? Like it's a very long day. I'm very stressed out. Like really, this Michael Jordan, Draymond Green? No. But going back, I feel it's just very stupid. Again, Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas. Like he was, yeah, his injuries did slow him down a bit, but he was still a bucket. But I feel like it really was just he wasn't able to shine beside LeBron.
Yeah,
and I think that pretty much tarnished his reputation for to GMs and all that. And it was. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people say conspiracy theory talk, but like LeBron has a lot of sway in the league, and then he's like literally blacklisting players. And all that.
I do. Do you all realize how ridiculous y'all sound when y'all can make those kind of conspiracy theories? I'll tell you this, Raph. Right? A couple of guys that I think over the years who really didn't get enough shine. Jimmer Fredette, Cam Thomas is already up there. Carson Edwards from Purdue, man, was a buck, man. Tyler Hansbrough from UNC. You remember Tyler Hansbrough, Psycho T?
I think I remember seeing some posts about that.
Right.
Yeah,
my whole point is I feel like a system sometimes is too overrated because again, the Cam Thomas situation for me it's so bizarre. He's like 22-5 and 4, 22-3 and 5, whatever outside of scoring you want to bracket him under, right? Mm-hmm. He's a great player, but he doesn't. And I remember, I think it was one of the EuroLeague MVPs, Mike James, who used to play in the NBA for the Brooklyn Nets. He said, and Kendrick Nunn, I got to bring this up. They went on the record and said, well, we don't want to just stand on the corner all day and shoot from the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we want to get the ball. We want to play basketball, I think. Yeah. So this is I don't know, a lot of people will say again that there's a system and an issue fit. And my whole point with that is these guys can actually really play. A lot of these NBA players can really play. The problem is when you're constructing a team, you can't have everybody go ISO ball up top. Not everybody will be LeBron James. I get that. Not everybody will be Kobe Bryant. But I feel like the nerds out there, they crucify, they over-criticize, and I think they themselves, by virtue of the stats they put up and the information that they put in the entire internet space, they've inadvertently blackballed and blacklisted these NBA players simply for being great at the wrong thing. To their mind. Mm-hmm. Imagine if we went out and played basketball now, and I get it. I really do. I get it when people are like, oh, you won't fit. But your team is ass. Like, the Bucks are horrible. And now Kyle Kuzma's on this.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma, folks, is on this goddamn team. On some occasions, he doesn't even score the damn ball. And you let Cam Thomas go. I'm sure if I ask Cam Thomas right now, he's gonna be like, "Oh, that's that bullshit, Jeff.
Yeah,
that's that bullshit, bro."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, for those of you who aren't aware, the Kyle Kuzma hate is kind of justified.
It is. it is insanely justified. So justified. It is so justified, Raph.
Yeah, he's like what, 6'8", 6'9"?
He's 6'8". Are you there?
Yeah.
Are you only there for your looks? Yeah. Like you and Kelly Oubre are the GOAT. I don't care. Get a bucket.
Yeah.
Run harder.
Yeah.
Jeez,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah. It's just that. I don't know. I think ever since LeBron looked at him that way,
he was gone from the Lakers. Gone. He was gone, and so was his career. Man.
Yeah, it's been a downhill for Kuzma, and I pray that he finally wakes up, because he was so much better in his like first 3 years.
Yeah,
and then after that, it's been kind of so iffy for him.
Yeah,
and I don't know what it is with Kuzma. But I still remember when him and Jordan Poole were on the same team.
Yeah.
And statistically, they were the 2 worst players in the NBA, and they were the most. They got the ball the most over there in Washington. And
correct. They were still the worst.
Yeah. Washington was the worst team, and unfortunately, they were led by the 2 statistically worst players
ever
in the game. Yeah. And. There's one thing I would like to like bring up when it comes to like the stats nerds, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not all terrible, right? Because JJ was a huge stats nerd, right? And every single time like he talk about a player, he talks primarily about, their statistical output and all that. He loved advanced stats.
Correct.
In fact, he was one of the biggest advocates for Nikola Jokic during his MVP runs.
Yeah.
And back when he was still an analyst, and he would constantly talk about his advanced numbers and all that. And even though his defense his defensive presence isn't the best, it's really all in his offensive presence. When he is on the court, especially in those MVP runs, he made the Nuggets the number 1, number 2, number 3 offense in the league. When he is off the court, they are like all the way down to 25th.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, I get that.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you think is like, how can we strike a balance with these stat nerds when it comes to evaluating players?
I think with these stat nerds, first of all, get out of your mom's basement, number 1. I'm joking. Or if you take offense to that, I really don't care. So, no, I think because at some point you just got to let a hooper be a hooper. Like if you're same with boxing, like just let the guy throw a couple of punches, right? You never know which one's going to land and knock him out. The balance would need to be one where the statistics, I think all right, let me give you I think an insight into that, really a deeper one, right? There was this debate between Mark Cuban and Skip Bayless, right? And I think this is where a lot of it really started. By the way, shout out to No Fan. Hello, sir. Thank you for tuning in. And Kia Carl. Shout out, Idol. Shout out, Den. Thank you for watching the Ball Boys this afternoon, guys. We are working on a lot of stuff, a lot of exciting stuff for you. Again, our sponsored segment later on will be backed by Court General, by Jax Bautista. Now, going back to the thing, Raph, there was this argument between Mark Cuban and Skip Bayless where Mark Cuban was talking about the details of the game. And he was saying, because Skip was saying LeBron faded and was using a lot of these adjectives. And I'm a big fan of Mark Cuban's analogy and statement where he said, you don't think that we know where LeBron is weakest on the court? So we kept sticking him to the baseline. So we would front him every time he came to come up top. And we did that with a bunch of guys and a bunch of bodies. Whoever would switch out, if LeBron, this is like the let's say this is the rim.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to us, there's no way you're going to get this, but bear with me. So this is the rim. This is the baseline. If this is LeBron James, whoever would come up off this down screen, right? We need a board here next time for the show, no? So I can design it. For everybody watching, again, stay tuned. We got some fun prizes to give away later. So if LeBron would come off and you would switch, you'd top lock him, meaning you'd force him back down.
Yeah.
That kept forcing LeBron back down to the baseline. And they knew that LeBron James, because he had a strong right hand, if you kept him at the baseline, there's 2 ways he could go, left or right. But you had a better chance of stopping whatever LeBron James' scoring effort would be because he was so downhill, you could collapse on that baseline and force a kick out.
Yeah.
That was genius, in my opinion. Now, LeBron evolved where when you get in the baseline, he's back you down.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have that back then. He wasn't like, all right, I'll just keep doing what I do. And I'll do what I know. He'll run to the rim, and then the Dallas defense would collapse. And LeBron was so unselfish, he'd keep kicking the basketball out. Now, the advanced version of that in today's time is when you try to analyze players and spots, and they call this zones, they would put a number on every zone, and in the coach's system, they would try to evaluate how good a player was and how good a player would be systematically in those zones.
Yeah.
If you get the ball here, what can you do? What are your percentages of scoring here, in the mid range? What are you able to do?
Yeah.
And this is where the stat nerds to me are just annoying, is because, for example, if they said like Cam Thomas is like 5% from this area. Well, if Cam Thomas all of a sudden made 10 points, it's just 10 points from that area. Is it still ass from that area? No.
Yeah.
Right? So we're trying to overanalyze a lot of different things when it comes to these stat nerds, because they try to break it down so intricately. But the problem is there was never any need to break down certain parts intricately, like percentages in zones. We don't need a guy. I get it if you're talking about your spacing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, a team that was impacted by these stat nerds with the Boston Celtics last year. Boston understood that if we just kept shooting threes, we're probably going to get hot at some point. It's the hot hand fallacy, right?
Yeah.
And they lost to the New York Knicks in insanely bad fashion. It was so hard watching the Celtics because all they did was shoot threes.
Yeah, it was hard to watch.
It was horrible. So that was one team impacted by that. And then these other teams, because you're not the Golden State Warriors, man. You're like, none of y'all are the Golden State Warriors, right?
Yeah.
Now, going back, where I think, again, you just got to cut through a lot of this white noise, I would say. You don't need these. You don't need the range stats, for example, or the zone stats that kind of break down a player's efficiency. Efficiency to me is also stupid because, again, it's basketball. A guy can make, like Jordan Poole is one of those guys deeply affected by efficiency stats, and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Because you don't. Everybody who knows hoops will say, "What do you want Russ to do? Not try?"
Yeah.
That's my whole argument with Russ. Do you want him to stop trying? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's just stupid. And you're like, no, he needs to be smarter. Well, part of his entire game of being smarter is him doing what he does.
Yeah.
You live and die with that sometimes in certain teams. And Jordan Poole is like, well, he's taking bad shots. These are the kind of shots that make him Jordan Poole too.
Yeah.
When he makes them, he looks like a god. When he doesn't make them, he looks stupid.
Yeah.
But then your argument is he shouldn't take these shots. But the argument still holds too. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, ref. So I think that's where the line needs to be. Everybody in the comments, let me know, or anybody watching the show, 0999-887-6070. Later on, we are going to be giving away a bunch of fun prizes, courtesy of Court General. But Raf, final points on these stat nerds. Should we drag them out their mom's basement and give them a nice slapping, or what do you think?
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from, especially with the overanalyzation aspect of it all. I think when I found out that people were like taking notes of like, hey, he shoots better here than he does over here. He shoots better here than he does over here. It's like, why is that? Why are you going to limit a player to playing you can only shoot here, you can only shoot there. Don't shoot here.
So stupid.
Avoid here. Yeah. That's so dumb.
Exactly.
It's so dumb because there are some nights where you're just on a heater, you can't miss. And
exactly.
You don't need to be in your hot spots to get that all down.
Correct.
You could do it just pretty much everywhere on the court, and especially players who transcend what's the average.
Yeah.
Those players, once they get on a heater, anywhere on the court, it's a bucket. So if you're constantly trying, and this is going to be the case for the non-superstars, for the role players and all that. If you're just going to limit them constantly, they're going to be scared to take shots.
Yeah,
they're going to have second thoughts in their mind. Actually, the analyst told me that I don't shoot very good from here, so I'll pass the ball.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a turnover now.
Makes you robotic.
Yeah, it makes you robotic, and you're not getting into the flow of the game.
Correct.
So this is why. And I do agree. Like when it comes to numbers tell half the story,
and it should just be half the actual application as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and because if we're all just going by the stats, that's not basketball anymore, and it's just gonna look really weird.
It's like 2K. You know what I mean? You're trying too hard to control the guy. Let the guy hoop.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So, I just feel like it's very. I know stats are important, is what I'll say, because I'm also a big stat guy myself. But at the same time, I don't ever let it be all encompassing, because it's not an all encompassing. It just tells me what I need to know about certain things.
Yeah.
But if you have a guy like Shea, if you have a guy like Luka, I mean, those are the kind of guys that say, F your efficiency stats. I'm just going to go out here and make a killing.
Yeah.
And then they get 39 points a game. So I think that's just with the stats, guys. Get out of your mom's basement. Go out. Look at the sun, bro. Get some sunlight.
Yeah.
You know, stop hating on Cam Thomas and Jordan Poole. Like they can actually hoop.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. It's disingenuous to me sometimes.
Yeah, and the craziest part about it all is that people fail to recognize this, but just about anybody in the NBA can actually be that guy.
True.
If they get the chance, to show their strengths and all that. I still remember there's like a bunch of videos of like people like taking former NBA players to to 1v1s and all that, and they're like, oh, this guy in the NBA he couldn't shoot threes, and then all of a sudden he's knocking down threes in their 1v1 games, and it's like, what? Why is he knocking down threes? Because he wasn't allowed to shoot threes when he was in the NBA. They would tell him, actually your percentages aren't high enough.
No. It's. I remember also, who was this 5 guy who what's his name again? No, JaVale McGee.
JaVale, yeah.
Everybody wanted JaVale McGee to be a rim runner. Now he's in China somewhere looking like prime Wilt Chamberlain. You know how ridiculous the transition is? And this is why people are like always convinced these NBA players are monsters, man.
Yeah, they are.
They could be Isaiah Thomas dropping 90 in a Drew League thing. It was a Drew League, I think. 90 when you dropped that big number you were talking about. Or JaVale McGee, put him in China. Or Kenny Lofton, for example, I think was affected by these efficiency stats as well, or these efficiency requirements where, you get on the block, you have 2 seconds to get it up. What? No, I got to work here, right?
Yeah.
And he's in Shanghai right now making a killing for the Shanghai Sharks. And again, I'll go back to JaVale McGee. He's like 20-10 now. He used to be a rim runner for the Warriors, which won the Warriors championships. But it's also alluding to a lot of these stat nerds' points. They're not going to build their team around JaVale McGee. But I also want to make that argument where, you want to limit him, but at least if you're going to limit him, let him limit him on his own terms. So I think these stat nerds, again, go out, look at the sun, enjoy, get some bright sunshine, vitamin D in your body, bro.
Maybe step on the court every now and then.
Go on the basketball court and look that guy whom you said in the eye who was inefficient and watch him drain 12, maybe 5 straight buckets in the exact same area where you thought he couldn't make it. This is ridiculous. Now, speaking of making it, not really making it, but when you're talking about where we are right now, for example, in Philippine basketball, we got to talk about it because what's reality with these stats, for example, that we just discussed and what's not reality, it can be 2 different things. But the PBA right now, can it be 2 different things? Now, they're doing a lot of things right, Raph, with the PBA, in my opinion. A lot. I got weird flack for it because for once I actually gave the PBA some love. I'm the biggest PBA hater, by the way. I take cow-sized dumps on that league whenever I can because I think they do a lot of things wrong. But I'm also the kind of person where if they're doing something right, I got to give them their shine.
Yeah, and give them their flowers.
Correct. I come with bouquets of them for the PBA, and then people started hating, and I'm like, hold on, let me point out these things. And the funny thing is, every time we point out these things, they don't want to argue those things. They just want to argue what they thought was correct in their head. Now, going back to the PBA, kasi sa tingin ko lang, they're doing a lot of right things in terms of marketing. One Sport now, I think, shout out to them. They're opening up their media, their media copyright terms now, where they put out the games on YouTube. I was surprised. They put the games up on YouTube now. So they're not isolating it anymore to Signal. Shout out to Gludo Horada. Make sure to tune in later for our segment where we give away prizes or a prize courtesy of Court General. It's going to be fun. Stick around for that. After this segment, I believe, or the next couple of segments, right?
Yeah.
So the PBA again, Bowl being there is a great attraction.
Yeah.
The Macau Black Knights being there, a great attraction. But here's a real question, right? Are we watching the PBA because we're fans of the PBA, or are we only watching the PBA now because they put on a bunch of fun gimmicks? And this is my problem with them. They're like a gimmick league. They put on like funny stuff. It's like a circus every now and then.
Yeah. It kind of does feel like that way, especially. I still remember like when they first announced the 4-point line, and my immediate reaction is that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why on earth are you doing that?
Yeah,
and it really feels so much like a gimmick. Now, I will admit it has made some games kind of really interesting to see just because of like the comeback potential for 4-point play, potential 5-point play if somebody's stupid enough to foul you from there. Even though you really you just put your hand up. If they make it, they make it. If they don't, then just live with it.
Correct.
Basically, and when it comes to the PBA, I feel like it's been so weird to come to this kind. What do you call this? Realization that even though they're the oldest and the biggest, arguably the biggest league here in the Philippines, it feels like there's really not a lot of eyes there.
No.
And do you feel like they need these gimmicks more than anything? I mean,
damn, that's a great question.
Yeah, because you could call them gimmicky and all that, but wouldn't you also agree that they need it?
See, the silence is deafening. No, because I think it's kind of a yes and a no, Raf. Yes, because they need a way. They need a way to get attention.
Yeah,
they're desperate right now. They're bleeding so much. I know for a fact that league is bleeding so much. I would also say, Raf, no, because it's fool's gold. You continue to put up these stupid gimmicks where these are always my issues with the PBA, and I've been very outspoken about this. Number one, we need more transparency with the actual financial disposition of this entire organization. What I mean by that is transparency in the sense where, all right, how can we as a general public make sure that we hold teams accountable in terms of the trades that they keep pulling off? Because I will never forget this. The most ridiculous trade I've ever seen in my life was for Stephen Holt, a rising Stephen Holt, Wami Tiongzon, Isaac Go, for literal Barangay Ginebra spare parts. I don't even know who the hell was on the other side of that trade anymore. But Barangay Ginebra, and now you can see the sun behind me. It is a beautiful afternoon out here in Cebu City, folks. Look at that. Oh, dear Lord. We are blessed with a beautiful day. Herald Joseph Arias. Shout out again to No Fan, Kia Carl, Gludo Horada, Neil Ramos, Herald Joseph Arias, who are watching now. Stay tuned later. We are going to be giving away fun prizes. And don't forget to join in on our conversation, 0999-887-6070. Now, going back, Raf, I believe that they should be more transparent with their contracts and everything. With these trades, it's absolutely insane how they keep shooting themselves in the foot with the parity issue. Like, Barangay Ginebra, Magnolia, that was complete ass, though. So, Barangay Ginebra, San Miguel, Talkentex, and I think Meralco, who has overtaken Magnolia in that, it's just revolving around these four teams every come playoff time. It's ridiculous, and it's just annoying. Second is, for you to fix the PBA, we really need better rules. I saw the other day that Glenn Cobuntin took a shot at the import from Rain or Shine. I forgot his name. I think it was like Jalen Johnson. And a bowl got checked by Bo Belga. I'm like, this is Philippine entertainment culture.
Yeah.
Like, y'all, like, why don't we just stick to boxing then? You know, like, Manny Pacquiao is the pambansang kamao for a reason, and I'm happy with that. I'm not mad at that. I'm saying if we're going to keep taking consistent craps on the PBA, and there's such a throng of people like myself who want to keep taking a crap on the PBA, and then the only reason why we'll ever watch the PBA is because there's a fight that happened.
Yeah.
Why don't we just stick to boxing then?
Yeah.
Like, we're good at that, actually.
Yeah.
We're very good at that.
Yeah.
We've won gold. We actually compete in the Olympics for boxing.
Yeah. And, I did see your post about that where you were kind of calling them out for that. And I would agree.
Yeah.
It feels like when it comes to the physicality of the game, in the PBA specifically, I really think that the Filipino.
You know what? K Showtime must have been right.
Yeah.
I might have been wrong.
There are certain aspects to it, but I think he's partially correct.
He might be.
We have a very bad reputation when it comes to that kind of stuff, and it's there for a reason.
Yeah,
it's there for a reason. And guys, why are we trying to prove K Showtime right?
You know what? I get so mad now because I put out it was a really good video, and then people were like, there were guys who defended him, and then now I'm like, no, I'm gonna stand on this hill and on this ground where he is also a provocateur, if you know what I mean. He provokes people to get the clicks and the likes.
Yeah, he does.
That is K Showtime's fault and his doing, because that's what he promotes online.
Yeah.
Before he even steps on a court, there's already that idea where, careful, he's a rage baiter.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of content he pushes.
Yeah.
Second to that, though, like, we're kind of proving him right. Like, we are very big into fouling. But those one-on-one things, Raf, are, to me, they're even kind of scripted at times. It's just kind of annoying. Like, you know, there's this agreement that they have beforehand. Like, I can do this, I can do that.
Yeah.
But going back to the PBA, I get so annoyed at the only thing that we have pride on is our ability or is our not wanting to back down from a fight. That's cool, but at what point do we actually start playing basketball? Why is it not cool that we're great at defending, that we're great at scoring, that when we go to the international space, I remember when we went up against Australia, people were like, oh, we're going to fight them again. I'm like, what? Well,
Yeah.
they beat the crap out of us using their Team B or C guys.
Yeah.
Not even their Team A guys, because there was no Ben Simmons, Dante Exum, Andre, Bertans, none of those guys. Like what?
Josh Giddey, right? He's
Josh Giddey, sorry, not
yeah.
Bertans. Bertans plays for Latvia.
Yeah.
My bad. So these guys, and I'm like, why are we so proud of punching these guys in the face? I really don't understand, man. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember like some aspects of that huge fight.
Yeah.
And people were pointing out like before the game even started that one particular Australian player was already being insanely rude towards everybody, and basically like he was shoving people even before the game started. It was just warm-ups, and he was like pushing people around and stuff like that. So I can understand a bit as to why things got so heated, but the fact that we treated that as like a moment to be proud is like, it's not really. It's just
strange.
It's just people getting angry over one dude being a complete jackass, and understandably so. I can understand why they were mad, but like this isn't something like we can like hang on a banner somewhere and be like. That's Philippine basketball right there.
Yeah.
You see that? You see that kick? Really nice. You see that? It's not something we should be proud of.
Oh my God, man.
We can be understanding about the situation.
True.
But like obviously that's not something we should be promoting. We should be promoting good basketball. And to the credit of Gilas, we did beat Latvia rather convincingly too.
Exactly.
Because
we played great defense.
Yeah, we played good. It was very good. We kind of collapsed a bit in the fourth, but like to start things off, we were stomping them.
Correct. And I remember when this Australia thing, for example, I remember when I was tweeting about it because I didn't have a page yet. I was just tweeting about it in my own private space, which was stupid. I should have started there already because I would have been viral for sure. But I remember I was reacting to it, Raf, and the only guy, by the way, who did not even really engage in that fight was Junmar Fajardo, was the biggest guy for Gilas Filipinas at the time. Now, I was going on the record and saying that this is embarrassing, and a couple of people reacted to my tweet, and they said, well, they started it. And I remember so clearly Coach Carter. You remember Coach Carter, the movie?
Yeah.
Coach Carter, the movie? Coach Carter... I remember Timo Cruz was like, well, Coach, they started it. And it was like Mexican accent, right? And Coach Carter grabs him by the shirt. I can't remember this is the exact scene, but I remember, guys, he said, so you can't act like a champion. You can't let that go and then move forward and just act like a champion. What would a champion do? And that type of narrative. And that hit home with me because at the end of the day, nobody remembers we remember the fight, but nobody really remembers the fight as the valuable piece of that. Everybody remembers that we got our ass whooped by near 40 points.
Yeah,
and
true.
The whole narrative now becomes we couldn't handle the ass whooping. We decided to just kick ass literally on the court. Now, again, chairs were flying, all of that stuff. But I go back to it and would say that was not the best moment for Philippine basketball. Yeah. I think now, because we've gotten a lot more talent, that we kind of need to break through that ceiling, Raf. And with the PBA, I don't think they're ever going to break that ceiling. I think they've plateaued a little bit because this is probably the best they're going to get. They're not going to be able to get these. And I remember I talked about this to an extent where, if you note this, the guys who succeeded in that game against Australia and even the one in New Zealand, they were not the PBA players. Because the PBA, the third thing I want them to improve, by the way, is just the overall overarching rules when it comes to actual pace and play. Because these guys are slow as shit. They're really slow. And I'm watching PBA games. I'm like, why do they keep walking the ball up? Nope, there's no pressure 94 feet. There's really just a guy walking the ball up. And in the FIBA space, if you notice in the when we last played Australia and New Zealand, there's somebody who is trying to chomp you 94 feet. The point guard's not going to get the ball easily. He's not going to cross that line as efficiently as well. So with the PBA, I think they plateaued a little bit unless they change these rules, unless our players dedicate themselves to the actual game where they better their conditioning, they better their efforts on both ends of the floor, I don't think there's really going to be a lot of improvement that we'll see outside of when these gimmicks come, these Bowls, these Marcus Lees, whoever come to the PBA and start saving us by being attractions that are, in my opinion, momentary.
Yeah, and at some point the gimmick is going to lose its shine a bit. And at some point people are going to be like, you know what? This is the only thing. It's also a bit of a two-edged sword, I think, with the treating Bol as like as something to watch.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, oh, he's the only thing worth watching right now.
Correct.
So you're going to get probably more viewers on one team and one team only.
Yeah.
When other teams start playing, everybody's going to tune out.
True.
So it's a double-edged sword. Definitely not ideal. And what is there something that they can back this up with? Because they have more eyes, a few more eyes right now. Is there something that they can do to capitalize on it all and turn this into a consistent viewer base?
Shout out by the way to Neil Ramos. You can't show some class, act like a champion. Those are the exact words he got. Coach Carter. So that's my whole point. But I think, Raph, they have to lay down the law on a lot of what diehard fans like me want to have happen in that league. The trades, they need to be regulated, especially for the non-SMC and MVP teams, because there's the Pangilinan teams, there's the Talk and Text, and I think there's Meralco. They have one owner, which to me is stupid, right? And then you have San Miguel teams. I forgot the other team, but San Miguel as a team. I think even Ginebra is a San Miguel team. Obviously, Barangay Ginebra, San Miguel, right? So, every time these teams meet, there's no parity. We already know, like, one of these teams are going to just give way for the other team. And if they have a sister team that is owned by the same guy, like SMC or MVP, they're just going to manufacture these stupid trades to make the top team look better.
Yeah.
And that's just been consistent for the past couple of not even couple, probably the last decade and change or something. And that pisses off fans like me because I want to be a fan of Terra Firma. I want to be a fan of Converge. I want to be a fan of NLX, but I can't because you keep taking the best player of these teams and putting them on the really good team.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Stop it. So that's one. If you can start regulating that, a lot of fans will be happier. Like you lay down the law. Like you can't touch this guy, for example, because right now I feel like Jeric Ahanmisi on Terra Firma, he's probably gone from that team. He's going to be a role player like San Miguel or something. They did this with Jeric Teng when he was at Alaska. They did this with Huami Chongzon on Terra Firma. Stephen Holt is now a role player on Barangay Ginebra. So they keep doing this, and it keeps pissing a lot of people off because we want to be fans of these other teams.
Yeah.
Bring back when I was a fan of Powerade and Coca-Cola. I enjoyed those times when it was Gary David and Doug Kramer and JV Castro and Marshall Lassiter. See, I know these guys, Raph, because I watched them. I was genuinely interested in Coca-Cola, right? Sean Anthony was on that team. I know. I legitimately know. I was a fan of that team for a while before they got blown up and Gary David was traded to God knows where. JV Castro was thrown to Alaska. Lassiter was thrown to San Miguel. And it was just nothing from there. I was no longer a fan. Like the PBA keeps blowing up my fandom for them, right? That's one. Now, the second thing is, again, they need to improve the rules because the pace right now is horrible. You can't have Scotty Thompson just walk the ball up to the front court and be there within 18 seconds. If there's no 94 feet of pressure to simulate what they'll face in international competition or any kind of rules where they simulate the actual play internationally, we're never, ever going to beat the likes of New Zealand, Australia, even Japan now. I believe they're on the come up. We used to be able to beat Japan. Now that they have like a bunch of NBA players like Rui Hachimura, Yuta Watanabe, Yuki Kawamura, they're gonna start beating our ass, Raph, and it's gonna be a massacre the way Australia beat our ass. I genuinely feel like that Latvia game might have been that blip in time that we're like, whoa, what a moment, right?
Yeah.
So if we can't simulate how we play internationally, we're never gonna be able to move the needle, so to speak, talent-wise.
True.
And finally, just transparency and stop with the gimmicks. I honestly think like they need to shrink their conferences to 2, if not 1. There was this one take I had on my socials where the guy said, just get rid of the All-Filipino Conference. And I was like, you know what? Holistically, that's a terrific idea. Why? Because if we get rid of the All-Filipino Conference, and if people are just there to watch like the Bowls of the world, just one big giant conference for half a year, or 8 months, whatever you want to do with it, and MVP... I stand on this with the UAAP, for example. MVP is MVP. Like, there's no best import or best local. There's one guy who wins it all.
Yeah.
Same with the NBA. so that we can establish who the best player is, period.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Kiambao won it after so many imports won it for the UAAP, that was a proud moment for Philippine basketball because, again, we found somebody who actually bests these guys.
Yeah.
Import or not, FSA, they call them FSAs. Foreign student athlete or local. This was the best possible player, period, Kevin Kiambao on De La Salle. The PBA can't say the same for that because they always have to have a best import award so that the MVP who averages like 11-5 can win MVP as for sentimentality purposes or to make him feel good inside. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Get rid of that, and I think we'll be watchable. I think we can start watching the PBA consistently and as a fan again.
Yeah, and I think especially for that last point, right? If you make it winner takes all kind of award, the MVP. I think this is also going to push, the local players who really want to win MVP as well to play better.
Correct.
Play better. Just play better.
Just again, commit yourself. This is what you do for a freaking living. You shoot hoops for a living. Me and Raph, we're on the show for a living, or so
we're here to yap for a living.
We're here to talk, spit into a mic for a living, all right? So I guess if you can commit to that, I think we'll be watchable again, talking about the PBA. Now, finally, Raph, pivoting to the final piece for today. Speaking of local vocal, right now I think we are in the process of moving teams to the NBTC, talking about the high school ranks. Shout out to my guy, Henry Suico, who will be debuting for the USA Growling Tigers, and I believe the Loreto Town League or something. So, the unity aspect, Raph. This is something that I talked about in extent before, but I want us to blast it on air. We need, in my opinion, a unified an organization that unifies our efforts basketball-wise or even just sports-wise in general.
Yeah.
Because our inability to sort of unify and come together for the benefit of these events and these sports hurts any actual progress and development. What I mean by that, folks, in layman's terms, to everybody watching and listening, is simple. If wala man gud tay kanang magkahiusang liga or magkahiusang organization, wala tayong mag-iisang organization na mag-encompass sa lahat na yung organization manages all of these leagues, there will be actually no considerable value in any of these pocket leagues na sinamahan ng mga bata, sinamahan ng mga tao. Kasi they're one and dones. Mangyayari ito for November, tapos na. Mangyayari ito for December, tapos na. Walang mangyayari. There's no benefit. There's no genuine valuable benefit to these children who participate. I'm talking about the kids. I'm not talking about the pros. To these kids, if they're just consistently running around, burning knee strength and knee bone or whatever, bone marrow, and they're not getting the shine that they could otherwise really get.
Yeah.
And I remember I talked to this about a character who's in sports tourism where if you can't unify the different islands, like the Visman areas, there's really no point.
Yeah.
Like, it's really pointless to me. And a lot of kids, because if I'm in high school, I remember this. I remember Milo. You remember Milo?
Yeah.
The Milo Best Pasarel.
Uh-huh.
So Milo had a ladder. They had an elevation situation where if you won your provincial, you would move on to regionals. And regionals would always be in some other island. If you were in Cebu, you'd probably play in Cagayan. And then if you're in Cagayan, we're going to move on to like the national stage. So it was such an exciting time to play in Milo because there was this incredible progression that would happen.
Yeah.
And Milo became super popular for that. The problem is when NBTC came around and when Milo kind of just couldn't participate anymore, I think it was like a financial reason, that whole thing kind of dissipated because nobody really looks at the NBTC as like the go-to tournament of the year. It's just like, oh, it happens and then, nah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So for a while, I remember last year when it happened, Palarong Pambansa, a bunch of names started sprouting out because, again, people tried to put value in that tournament where it was kind of unifying all of the regions because you had Region 1 all through like 13 or 16 or something to be represented. Now, my question to you, Raph, is what do we got to do to get there? What has to happen locally, politically, if you want to put it that way? What has to happen for us to even just sniff the ability to unite and create a league valuable in terms of development for the youth players?
Unfortunately, this is something we talk about as well on a lot of our TMC shows. When it comes to local politics and all that, it's really political will. There's a lack of political will for a lot of things to happen in the Philippines, and because there's a lack of political will, nothing happens, or not a lot happens rather. If ever there's change, it's because there's enough political will for it to happen.
Yep.
But then after that, it's just more of the same. and it's because there's a really lack of. I think I don't know if we lack the push to be vocal enough about the changes that we want to see as constituents to our LGUs and all that. Maybe there's a lack of that. Maybe there's a lack of them hearing us out, because people want to see these types of changes. But when it gets to to the local government level, it feels like nothing's happening.
True.
And it really is because they don't see an immediate benefit to their political careers, unfortunately, to help to push for these types of changes. And it's that's probably the biggest hurdle to any type of unification. It's a lack of political will.
I will level with you, Raf, and I will say that I agree, because a lot of times I remember this is an experience, and I'm not gonna name. We're just gonna use variables, right? So sa lahat ng nanonood, ito yung halimbawa ko. I was covering a tournament, and pagkatapos ng tournament na yun, nagmi-meeting yung mga organizers, kasi sabi nila, para naman may value to, sige, magbuo tayo ng team. It will be composed of the best players that we have, and we're gonna see them off through this really big tournament. It was like an international tournament or something.
Yeah.
And I was listening to them. I was like, "Ooh, that's pretty good. That sounds like a good idea." The next question comes from, let's say, Barangay A, B, C, D, right? Barangay A then says, "Well, saan gumagaling yung funds? Saan galing yung mga pera para mag-fund sa mga batang to?" Sabi ni Barangay B, pwede naman tayo mag-ipon-ipon, which I thought was great. Ipon-ipon na tayo, consolidate, and then for the whole of the team. Sabi nila, pero mahirap yun kasi sa Barangay C, yung mga players lang namin gustong i-sponsor namin galing sa team. And I was like, what? That's just kind of stupid, right? What is...
Seems a bit petty.
Like, there's like one guy on that team. You want to fund the one guy? Like, why can't it just be a shit? To me, man, good. And I'll read this Neil Ramos comment in a bit. Kasi sa tingin ko lang, yung importante, and if you're watching, I think we can somehow agree, if we're gonna do anything that represents, for example, the province of A, it needs to be the province of A to come together, right? It can't be the province of A and then we're trying to seek funding from Barangay A, B, C, D, E, let's say Cebu. The province of Cebu cannot be broken apart into like Talisay, Mandaue, Cebu, and the funding has to come strictly from those three areas. But what if you have a kid from Hinatilan who needs funding, and you're like, Hinatilan has no money, so that kid's gonna starve on the team? Let's say he's the best player on the team. How the hell is it like Shabazz Napier on UConn? Like, he's just gonna sniff air to feel good before the games to convince himself he's fed? It's kind of stupid. So tingin ko lang, you're right. When there's political, not really even political will, I think one of the biggest problems we've had politically over the years, and in terms of sports, how it's trickled over to sports, is this selfishness that we can't get out of our own way from. Meaning, kasi. This goes back to stat nerds,
Oh no.
No, because when we try to overanalyze everything, because we live in a world of social media, right? We try to overanalyze all of these things, and we just genuinely cannot be altruistic, Raf. It sort of really impacts the bigger picture. Kasi tama ka, a lot of politicians won't see it on the surface and say, okay, this could actually really help. Then it just becomes disingenuous the whole time. They're on the campaigns. They're like, "Oh, I'll save you," and the time comes to save you, and they're like, "Well, no, I got to do. Wait, hold on. Do I really benefit from this somehow?
Yeah.
Will you vote for me next election? Yeah. That type of tenor." So, you're right. Political will does play a huge part in it, but I also think that selfishness needs to be eradicated if we're ever going to make any kind of genuine progress. Because there's no politicians and people in government are supposed to be they're supposed to have a level of altruism that exists that we don't have, because they're there. The whole motto, you go to the capital right now, is in service of the people.
Yeah,
that's their whole thing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, I'm looking at to my right. There's like a big pothole to my right. Like, well, where was the service for this? and then waiting for the BRT, and I'm like, well, where the hell's this bus that said it would be at 4:30? It's already 5:01. Like,
yeah.
So. I agree. And let me read this comment from Neil real quick.
Go.
I know you're already done talking about the PBA, but besides the imports, I think PBA should do a draft where one and done college players are eligible for the draft. I agree. I think guys like Jamel Puno, who recently said he'll be on the move. If you want to make, I think it's tricky though because we're so rooted in that idea where you got to graduate.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough. I get though because again, there's a lot of instability when they do.
Yeah,
but it's very, very tricky. Not draft players whose age are near the end point of the calendar. Pringle, Tautua, Holt. Well, those guys, Neil, for your reference, they were drafted at a time. They didn't. Like, you're talking about two different things here. I want to clarify to Neil Ramos if you're watching. You're talking about two different things. Yung mga college players in the UAP and the NCAA, there's this existing requirement, Raf, where they have to finish 4 years before they get drafted.
I know that.
Right? Or they have to graduate, period lang. It could be a 2-year course. As long as you graduate, that's the whole requirement in general. Ito kasi sila Pringle, Tautua, Holt, C-Stand, they were drafted because they went through the pros first before they were drafted. Like they weren't from college anymore. Like Stan Hardinger and Pringle, and they probably were already graduated from their college and they played a little bit of pro ball before they were even looked at. But that's the thing. It's not like they went through the same route like Ravenna, Parks, etc., who had to graduate first before they were drafted. It's a different thing. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Right? So, final thoughts on this whole political thing.
Well, yeah. One thing I guess I'd like to push back a bit on what you said was when you said that we need to get rid of the selfishness. That's not realistic, I think. What is more realistic is to make them realize that by dedicating themselves to a certain thing, like how Pacquiao really wants to dedicate his political career to improving the sports scene in the Philippines, that is beneficial to you because this is going to create your political legacy.
Right.
You pushed the needle forward.
Right.
You improved the sports scene in the Philippines.
Right.
When people start to think of sports in the Philippines, they'll start to think about you and how you made things better.
Right.
That's the type of messaging that we need to somehow, stuff into a politician's brain who's not Pacquiao, unfortunately. No, I'm not saying that because he's a bad politician. Because I'm saying that he's there. It's nice that he's there. We need more of him.
Yeah.
More of him. Politicians who see the value in pushing for these types of things. And that's because, again, but unfortunately, this is just going to be the reality of it all when it comes to politics. They're going to see the value of it through how it benefits them.
Yeah.
That's probably the most realistic thing. There's really no way to get rid of the selfishness of these Filipino politicians because they're just always going to be selfish. I hate you guys.
This is going to be a fun show to clip later. But let me ask you this, Rap, before everybody watching right now, we're going to segment or we're going to pivot over to our game later in about like 2 minutes because I know your background. Let me ask you this. Should Manny Pacquiao, because it's still sports related, should Manny Pacquiao have ever been a politician?
Yeah. Personally, I don't think I see the translation very well, especially when he did win. I genuinely don't know much of his political achievements.
He had zero.
Yeah.
He was a boxer. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like, I really don't think it translated well. I appreciate the platform that he was pushing for, and even the candidates that he was propping up as well because they were all under his his political party and they all had a similar platform. When it came to improving the sports in the Philippines, I really appreciate that. I would have appreciated that more if he was just like promoting candidates, people with actual experience in politics with that platform rather than him running it himself because it feels like he didn't really run it that well.
Now I'll push back on that point because I believe that what he did running was him showing that a person with a genuine interest can get to that level. Whether they succeed or fail will serve as an example for the next generation to follow up on. Meaning, Raf, I'm not mad that Manny Pacquiao became a politician. I'm glad that he tried and showed the world. Because I think Manny Pacquiao, I've always said this to people, I don't think he should be president. I'm not saying he should be president. I'm saying that him going to the Senate and trying is going to be enough for the next kid, because he couldn't do it. Let's be honest, he really didn't do much because, again, it had nothing to do with his background. I think when you're in politics, it's how you play the game. And so many people don't realize this. When you get, I felt this one time when I just tried to get anything approved. Like, you try to get anything approved in, like, your friend space, for example. You know how hard it is to get all of them to buy in. And you're alluding to your point, you have selfish politicians looking at this and saying, how can I get in on this if it's going to be like a big thing?
Yeah.
Or how do I remove myself from this because I don't know enough of this or I can't take the risk?
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao, to me, at the very least, where I can happily say where he tried was because now he set that barometer where a sincere person going into that, I think he's sincere at the very least, a sincere person who operates on the level of altruism at least tried to affect change in the best way he knew he could with the financial ability that he accumulated over the years. Did he succeed? I would say no, but at the very least we have a barometer and we know that it's actually possible for you to get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of people would push back and say, no, you should have never been a politician. Somebody else should have deserved that. Well, suck a bag, bro. Like, haven't we had enough of these politicians who just sit there, do nothing, and they play the game, the media game? It's ridiculous. We're digressing. We're digressing.
Yeah.
Now, I did promise y'all, and Raph is going to slide it by the TV, folks. And if you're watching or listening to us live, we are going to be giving away a free Court General jersey brought to you by Jax Sports, Jax Bautista, if you are watching somewhere. Here is how this works. Raph, we didn't really talk about it because I had a crisis earlier, but we're going to see if we can make it work right now on air and online. For all of y'all watching, all y'all got to do is dial the number 0999-887-6070. We're going to ask a question, Raph. Go to ChatGPT, because again, I had a crisis earlier. We couldn't get to this part, but we're going to go just NBA trivia right now. We're going to go to ChatGPT, and we're going to ask a question. All y'all got to do is whoever calls it first will win. Raph, slide that beautiful jersey onto our screen. Will win this uniform, care of Court General, for free. I will talk to Jax about delivering it to your address. Please have a Cebu address that is within the city, or you can go to City Sports in the heart of Cebu City to claim your jersey. Now, again, all you have to do, folks, is dial 0999-887-6070. And as I say that, our viewers have risen because now it's game time. All right, so Raph, let's go to ChatGPT. Look for a very fun question for everybody to answer. And everybody, again, dial the number 0999-887-6070 to win a free Court General jersey that you can wear to your basketball runs and look cool as hell because knowing that you won it for free. Do you have the question?
All right, give me a moment. It's loading up.
You're good.
All right. Are we gonna just do one question? How many questions we're gonna do?
We're gonna do an immediate one. One shotgun question. Get it right, you win the uniform. I was thinking of a game that we could play with whoever, like when they come on air, but again, I had a crisis. I'll work that out next week. This again is sponsored by Court General. Guys, here we go. Raph.
All right. Okay, I think this is going to be, this is a bit of a simple question actually, but it depends on how well you know your history.
Right.
So the question is, what year was the NBA founded?
Ooh. Dial 0999-887-6070 to win an NBA jersey, to win a Court General sponsored uniform. What year was the NBA founded? I don't know if the phone will ring. That's my biggest concern right now.
Hopefully it does.
I really want it to ring.
We have rung the phone, actually. We have rung the phone, so
yeah.
we know it works, but...
Can somebody dial 0999-887-6070 and win a Court General jersey? By the way, shout out to the Junior MCBL right now happening, I believe, this weekend, and the MCBL Rec League by Jax Sports and Jax Bautista. 0999-887-6070. What year was the NBA founded? What year was the NBA founded? Phone line is open for anybody who wants to go on air and give us the answer. Again, I'm not really sure if that phone will even ring because I think our viewership capped today at like about 20. I've been looking at the viewers, and right now,
well, hopefully somebody's
there's
out
a brave
there
soul,
and they're willing. Not just willing, but they really, really want this really gorgeous looking jersey, actually.
Court General jersey. You know what? Next week, guys, I'll raffle off like shoes. I don't know. We'll see. Well,
Let's see.
Yeah.
But like, I guess we can pass the time while waiting for our caller.
Yeah.
Oh, who will hopefully phone in a
bit.
In a bit, yeah.
Right.
I think we could pass the time by like maybe adding some additional points to some of the things we said today.
Yeah.
First and foremost, let's go over them. You know, the MVP race.
Yeah.
It's looking really tight and all that. And your pick is Wemby. My pick is Luka.
Right.
Who do you think that in this next, in the coming final games of the NBA, do you think that there's a possibility that, because he is fourth right now on the rankings as far as I know, like on the official, quote unquote official NBA rankings for MVP, Nikola Jokic, can he still make a potential push for MVP this season?
I think he's kind of on the outs. I think it's too difficult at this point, given the way the Denver Nuggets have played all season. And again, for everybody watching,
we actually have a caller right now.
Here we go.
Hang on.
Let me put you on air, my guy. Here we go.
Hello.
You're on TMC 105.1.
Caller. Hello, caller. Hello.
Trying to figure
out
this phone. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, it was pretty immediate last time. What's happening here? Hello,
Can we just put him in front of the mic?
Okay, wait, let's try. One moment. Let me.
One moment, my guy.
Hello. Caller. Hello.
You're on TMC 105.1.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Who is this?
Who is this?
I think it's Neil.
Yes.
Who is this?
Me, it's Neil.
Oh, you found a way to dial the number. All right, Neil.
You told me to call.
No, I did not. I said go win the jersey, and you decided to dial. Perfect. All right, what year was the NBA founded?
Oh, my God. 19...
You have Google. Oh, my God.
Wait. I think he's
1948?
1948?
No. Unfortunately, that
is not correct. That was the year the war ended, Neil. Not when. It's hilarious.
Wait, hang on. Wait, we couldn't hear you earlier. Let me try reconnecting you to the.
Give me a second. I'll give it a sec.
Hello. Neil, you still there?
I think he's out.
No. The call's still ongoing. Hello, Neil. Can you hear me? Could you hear us earlier? Were you? Wait. Hang on.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I can hear him now.
Were you talking? Oh, we couldn't hear you. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Were you talking earlier? We couldn't hear you. I have the volume up high already. What's happening?
I'm not sure, but we can hear him now. Yeah.
Talking.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. So you know what? I'll give you one more chance, Neil. I'll give you one more chance. What year was the NBA founded?
August 3, 1949.
August 3? Is that correct? 1949?
1946.
1946. God damn it, Neil. 1946. What happened on August 6, 1949? Pearl Harbor?
The National Basketball Association was founded on August 3, 1949. What
info do you have?
Is wrong?
What info do we have?
It says 1946 here.
Are we on Google? All right, hold on, Neil. Let me validate this for you. Hold on.
Hang on.
Hang on. We're trying to.
I can send you the screenshot if you want.
I got.
Actually, he's right.
August 6th. What year? 19. What year, Neil? 1946?
1949.
1949?
August 3, 1949. Yep.
Yeah. August 3, 1949. Neil Ramos, congratulations. You are our first winner of a Court General sponsored jersey that we'll go ahead and take from Jax Bautista sometime later next week.
All right. Congrats, Neil.
Thank you so much.
Well, again, he's one of my guys. He actually tunes into this show. So, Neil, congratulations. I'll check in with you later. Good stuff, Neil. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for calling, Neil.
So we're going to improve this last segment a little bit. I'll work with you after the show to make sure that we have something aligned. But final thoughts on today's show, Raf, regarding the MVP conversation. Nikola Jokic, I think he's on the outs a little bit. It's going to be very challenging for him to really win and leap past Luka, Wemby, even Jaylen Brown and Cade. It's because, again, he hasn't done anything too special if we're talking about the word special, even what that would encompass.
Yeah.
And the Nuggets aren't really winning the way they won when he was MVP and whatnot. And shout out to, let's go!
We got a baller right over here.
I like that. Where you from? Toronto. Raptors fan. Oh, yeah, I love it, baby. Steph Curry
fan.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate you. All right. I'm feeling that for sure. It was. And good tidbit for everybody. James Naismith is actually Canadian. Make sure he knows that. All right. TMC 105.1. Again, if you have a hot take for us, drop it. 0999-887-6070. Final thoughts, Raf, on the rest of the topics that we talked about today.
Well, with regards to the Nikola Jokic case, I kind of do agree that it's a bit hard for him to make the push for MVP right now. You said he's not doing anything special this season, and I think it's kind of similar. It's a similar case to Shea. Now, he's doing exactly what he did when he won MVP, by the way. It's just that we've gotten so used to it, it doesn't feel special anymore.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's even voters fatigue. I think when you're doing something special and you do it so consistently, I think Jokic has just been like he's going to be a top 5 player still. He's going to be all NBA. It would be an absolute injustice if he wasn't. But because right now it's looking like he might even be on the outs because you have Victor Wembanyama, Doncic, Shea, Cade, and JB. That's your 5. I don't think I can put Jokic in there, man.
I think somebody pointed this out earlier as well. I think it's been kind of crazy that the top 3 contenders for MVP in the past 5-6 years there hasn't been a single American.
No, I think that's fair to say, though. I also, even now, an American might not even win it because the best American right now is actually Jason Tatum. Or it's actually Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown is the best American player in the NBA, and I don't think that'll change for a while. Even I really don't. I don't see it happening.
I mean, maybe a healthy Cade.
Maybe he had a chance of breaking that streak.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but outside of that, as of this moment, the best American player just really can't compare to the best European player
at the moment. No,
yeah.
I mean, Shea is Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
And the guy behind us was I was about to say like, hey,
also a Canadian.
Shay's your guy, not Steph. You gotta be, he killed y'all that one year where y'all would have won it, right? Or where y'all actually won it. He almost killed y'all, man. Stephen Curry.
Yeah, but this is being a fan of basketball transcends your nationality sometimes.
It does, and I like that we have a couple of hoopers out here because I remember that we have the speakers on loud, right?
We do
throughout the entire top center. So again, 0999-887-6070. Japheth Quinonala. I'm good, Raf. Japheth Quinonala for On-Q Sports and Media. Raf Chavez. This has been the Ball Boys 105.1 Tops Media Center. The best of, baby. Let's get it.